years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, you know, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money if you're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do.
What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. We have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
And Shelly E. All right. So before we light this fire, do your part, folks. Tap that thumbs up and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. We are live on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us. Subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. We already have a super chat for the night. Our first super chat of the night is our main man, Kung Fu CJ, with the $2 super chat. Says, hello to my Pop and Politics family. All right. Hello to you too, Kung Fu CJ. All right. So you guys saw it. That was President Trump in Saudi Arabia starting off or kicking off his Middle Eastern tour. And he seems like he was received with such applause, such admiration. Nicole, what are your thoughts on what happened there?
Listen, it is night and day from President Trump's visit to Joe Biden's visit. They are over the moon with President Trump, and so am I. He's over there, and honey, I hate to say it about Muslim countries, but he's bringing home the bacon. He is really doing his thing, and they are so honored to have him there. You know, the beautiful motorcade, the lavender carpet, they are really showing off for this president, and I think it's a very good look.
Yeah, Shelly. Within hours of landing, which again is the first leg of his inaugural major second-term overseas trip, he signed an investment deal with the country totaling $600 billion. What are your thoughts on that, Shelly?
Let me tell you something about these mullahs, okay? Now, there are different, sects of Islam. Saudi Arabia is generally Sunni, right? These people, as much as they are dogmatic about their religion, don't let that fool you. They are about money. Okay, absolutely. They are about power, and they are about status and how it looks, if you will, how they look to the world. Don't let them fool you. Okay, they are human beings just like the rest of us. They might put on their little dashikis while the rest of us might put on pants, but don't let them fool you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a tour to remember. As I mentioned, President Trump made a $600 billion deal there. So, I mean, he got investments in security, defense, technology. I mean, the list goes on. It builds president, according to Town Hall, the $600 billion in Saudi investment builds President Trump's record in 2017 of securing billions in commercial deals and agreements with Saudi Arabia for, again, defense, energy, technology, infrastructure sectors. So, I mean, this is definitely a huge investment for America, but does this some sort of give you pause and kind of, is it worrisome that we have so many investments from the Middle East in American industry, some very important parts of American industry? Nicole?
No, it does
Mm,
not. It
okay.
does not. Listen, money, regardless of where it comes from, is what we need to rebuild American manufacturing. Once we get back on our feet, these are things that we can reconsider. But at this point, President Trump is out there doing everything he needs to do to reconfigure our nation. And that takes investment from other places. Sure enough, we could easily print more money and devalue the dollar and make sure our economy crashes and nothing has any worth. Or we can get the people who now have our dollars to invest here at home. And that's what he's doing. I have no fear of this investment deal.
All right. What about you, Shelley? Any fear or any kind of worries about that at all?
All right, let me say it this way. I'm not necessarily fearful, but I do live in the real world. Anytime you have any other countries are going to network, they're going to influence each other, they're going to be in each other's lives, so to speak. We all live in the same world. So we're either going to negotiate, network, work together, temper our relationships, again, prosperity through peace. We can't avoid not being influenced. We do not live in an American bubble by itself. Now, having said that, it just depends on which countries we network with, to what degree we network with them. How will we allow them or, into our lives, so to speak, and us into theirs? So again, we don't live in a bubble. I know America first, and my God, we want to believe that we do, but we don't. It's a good thing that America is first, and we should be first and worry about, put America's interests first, just like any other country will put theirs first. But let's not be in la la land. We will be influenced, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. Just like we influence the Saudis, they're going to influence us to some degree. I'll give you a perfect example. I happen to have been in Riyadh. I was in the first Desert Storm war, literally right down the street from that beautiful airport, that gold-laden airport where President Trump has flown into in Riyadh. And when we were there in the military, we influenced their culture. In one aspect, we influenced them because at that time they had women that started driving. They weren't supposed to. I think they were arrested, and I don't know, whatever the penalty may have been for them. But women saw other women, American women, driving, and they thought, oh, well, why can't we drive? It's just because we're women over here, we can't. So we are going to influence each other. I'm not living in this little la bubble and, no, it could be for bad, it could be for good, but we will influence each other.
Yeah. I certainly agree there. I mean, I just want to understand, how is this different than the millions, almost billions of dollars that the Clintons have taken into their foundation, their library, from places like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, many other places in the Middle East? And, people on our side said, this is buying influence. This isn't safe. And so how is it different when President Trump is getting these investments from similar places?
Well, the money that's being invested is invested in our nation, right? Mm-hmm. This is not like with the Clinton Foundation. It was for their own private use. I mean, this is not Donald Trump throwing anybody a multi-million-dollar wedding. That's not what's happening. And I think that's a very good point, KJ, to point out that he's not out there, shaking his money maker for him. He's out there getting that money for us to rebuild this nation, to reconfigure our nation. It's a very liberal talking point that they say, oh, Trump is out here making himself rich. He's already done that. Been there, done that, check that box, right? He's trying to make us rich. He's trying to make this nation, quote unquote, great again. And the way that you do that is with investment.
Yeah, absolutely. I certainly agree there. And what about his speech? I mean, he is there and, the flags are coming down, through the streets of Qatar and Saudi Arabia. I mean, his speech where he's talking about our weaponry and how much we're investing in our military. We have the greatest military in the world. He talks about how we could do devastating things with this military. I mean, it was an exceptional speech. I loved it. I mean, you want to talk about America first over in the Middle East. It was spectacular.
Absolutely. He was not on an apology tour. He was not on America has done this and we've done. No, he stood on, again, America first. And like I said, these Saudis, these mullahs, they know power, they know money, they know, again, prestige, all of, the facade, what do you call it, facade, or how they are perceived. This is what moves them. Okay. Strength moves them. Holding yourself with confidence, not backing down. That's what they like. Don't let them fool you. Okay. When they come here to America, they might go to the temple or to the mosque and pray 4 or 5 times a day. But when the sun goes down after that last prayer, guess what? Those mullahs, for all intents and purposes, the turbans come off.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, please fire off in that chat. We want to hear from you. Tell us what you think about this Middle Eastern tour that President Trump is on. He's still there. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Say that again, Shelley.
He's going to some other countries too.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. We will continue to follow this. As I mentioned, I still in the back of my mind am a little bit worried about these investments. Again, we got $33.4 billion into U.S. real estate businesses, hedge funds, $6.25 billion in donations to American universities, $72 million to lobbyists and PR firms. This is according to a breakdown of the money that is being invested. So I don't know. I know we would talk about how China has invested, we want to get China out of our pharmaceuticals and, out of our land and things like that. And so here we have these countries who many of them have sponsored terrorism around the world against American interests. And they are now sponsoring, a heavy bit of investment in many of the institutions here in America. So I just wonder how that will play out.
I get you. That should not be overlooked. We should not just sweep it under the carpet. We should not, we should address those concerns. A couple of points. Another point. The U.S. is Saudi Arabia. If I'm not mistaken, it's its biggest exporter, importer to Saudi Arabia, and vice versa. Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. So that relationship is already there. It's just that now the amount, or maybe the different industries that they're going to be invested in. That's number one. Number two, I think equally, if not more important, Saudi Arabia and the United States have had this, tenuous relationship for years, right? Generally, it has been amicable or peaceful. I'll say this, but the important part of this is this: Saudi Arabia and Iran don't like each other. No. It's better to have Saudi Arabia as, what is it? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, or something like that. So this is what you want to do. Saudi Arabia, for all of their Islam and for all of their moderate, maybe hardcore focus on Islam, they tend to be, generally speaking, a little bit more level-headed than their Iranian Muslim counterparts, who are much more radicalized.
I agree. I think this relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia is such as a long-term, slightly dysfunctional, on and again, off again, boyfriend-girlfriend situation. You really like each other, but sometimes you just can't hit the vibe right, with Iran and countries like that being the crazy baby mama that shows up and acts a fool and ruins it for everybody. But the truth of the matter is, they're not trying to buy farmland in the United States. That's the difference with China was trying to buy up our farmland and that kind of thing. And, you see Sarah Huckabee Sanders coming out going, oh, no, you won't own an acre in Arkansas. Not here. We're not doing that. They're investing in our industries. And that's what we want. It's a money-making proposition for everybody involved. This is not charity by any stretch of the imagination. But what's interesting is the respect that they have for Donald Trump as a deal maker and a businessman changed the tenor of how they welcomed him and the deals they were willing to make. Listen, Everybody likes money. And these guys, these Saudis, honey, one thing, you might see their women and they may be covered up, but up under that cover, they got on Chanel suits and Gucci and Hermes and everything else. Everybody there loves money. Everybody. Yeah. We just have a different way of getting the wealth and riches. I think it's, for now, a good relationship. Time will tell. Shelley's right. We'll see what happens long run. But for right now, America first. I wore my little earrings. Let's go, USA. Bring that money home. Bring that money home.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, my gosh. When the photos and the videography from President Trump's trip where he was talking about the beautiful infrastructure and the marble, and it was so clean. Oh, my goodness. I want to go there. I mean, you've been there, Shelley. I haven't been. Have you been to the Middle East, Nicole?
No, ma'am.
I've been there. I've been to Bahrain. Saudi Arabia. It's a very clean country. I mean clean, and I mean you really can't. It's not too much you can dirty with all the damn desert sand. I mean it's a huge desert. It's generally clean. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah. I certainly would like to visit.
Immaculate.
Shout out to Butch Miller, who just said Texas in the chat. Butch Miller, who said Texas just passed a bill to not let the CCP buy any land. There should be a bill in every state. Chinese Communist Party should not own 1 acre of land in this nation.
Well, my boy did. He put them in their place, I believe, last year. DeSantis. He stopped them from buying land there. And I agree. I mean, China is not only buying up land in the United States, but they're buying it up all over the world. When you go to the Caribbean, now you have a lot of Chinese people that have bought up some of the most beautiful land on the beach, property on the beaches that used to be public. Now they've privatized them. You have Chinese people over there speaking in dialect with a Caribbean accent and everything. Yeah, so and the native people, they get so upset, but they've sold this land. And now they got to pay to use the beaches they've played on for generations.
Yeah.
So
one more thing I want to say about this Saudi deal, because I was looking at all this stuff today. One more thing I want to say about the Saudi deal. It was not just important, it was very symbolic that he went to Saudi Arabia first, because in that area, the Saudis have I would compare them to America here. They have that leverage. They have that that power wielding to help with ameliorating the other Arab countries. So it's the biggest country in the Middle East over there. So it was very symbolic that he went there first, and they kind of set the tone and the standard. So.
All right. Yes, absolutely. So folks, we see you guys in the chat. Please, as you all are coming in, hit that like button. It really helps to push our video out to a wider audience, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? But certainly hit the like button. We need to get those likes up. We have almost 200 people watching, so we want to make sure we get the likes in. Folks, that's our merchandise. So we have a merch store here. If you go to www.popandpoliticslive.com/shop, you can get some merch there. So some great tees. That's a tee that says "Not Black, Not White, American. Don't let them divide us." One of my favorite shirts. And Shelley is holding the mug. You can get it on a mug.
Nicole is too.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, I didn't even see. Yep. Nicole is as well. She has the mug there. I'm the only one odd man out. I should have my mug. So yes, that's the Pop and Politics mug. Great conversation starters, because it's not so forward. It's not so it's a good way to say, hey, we believe in America first. We believe in, it's not about races. It's not about ethnicities. We're all Americans. So, get your mugs, get your shirts at poppinpoliticslive.com/shop. You can also, if you love what we're doing here and you want to support us, your super chats go a long way. You can also donate via our Cash App right there, Be More Pop Stars, or you can just click on that, use your camera phone and click on that Cash App, and that will take you right where you can to donate. Speaking of donations, we have some super chats. Thank you all so much.
Sure.
All right, let's see here. We have Robin. Yes, thank you, Robin. She says, Trump is out trying to get us all jobs and make the country wealthier, young, old, tall, or short, poor or rich. All these Americans need jobs. Absolutely.
Yes,
with
ma'am.
the $20 super chat. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
Robin.
Robin. Lilies, thank you so much for your super sticker, with the $5 super sticker. We really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. All right. So let's see here. Okay, so moving right along, you guys know we love to talk about the Democrats imploding on themselves. And I think they're finally getting, I don't think they haven't got their just reckoning, but I think they are finally getting their reckoning for what we know they did as far as covering up for Biden's cognitive decline. So here in this video is Chuck Schumer being cornered about the cover up. Take a look. This is clip 1.
I really do want to ask you about something that has been breaking out of CNN. Our Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson have written a book called Original Sin, and they call it a cover up of Biden's health and his cognition and his fitness, quite frankly, to be president of the United States. You sat next to Biden in the Oval Office, February 27th, 2024, just a handful of months before the president took that debate stage. And it was later reported that you and other Democratic leaders were talking before the debate about having a plan. You and Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama. I understand you later denied that ever happened. But I am curious, I'm interested to know whether the man that you saw sitting there on that couch on that day, you were in there, you saw him up close and personal. Did you really not have any idea that he was not fit to serve a second term?
Casey, we're looking forward. We have the largest Medicaid cut in front of us. We have the whole federal
you're
government
facing all
at
of this
risk.
because you lost a presidential election. And
Look,
is that not Joe Biden's responsibility for deciding to run again?
We're looking forward.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Senator Chuck Schumer, I know you got to go. I appreciate your time today. We'll see you soon, I hope. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Wow. So as slimy and political as Chuck Schumer is, he was actually nervous there. You could see that he had been cornered and he was like a deer in headlights. He wanted to get out of there. He wanted to change the subject as fast as he could. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Not only was it funny and hilarious, maybe even embarrassing. What I loved is that you notice how the media, they are starting to slowly go against the Democrats, or at least ask them hard questions. They're trying to, after that White House Correspondents' dinner, when they tried to say, they were doing their job basically, which they were not. Now they're trying to make it a little bit more evident that they are not going to toe the line. They're just trying to make it appear that way, okay? And because the Democrats are their approval rating is well below, a long time. It's in the tank. They don't want to be associated with that. They want to carve out a way to say, oh no, we're the media. We're that fifth estate. We were pressuring and questioning, asking the hard questions. This is the funny part. Now the Democrats don't know who to go to. This book has been written, I forget her name, the journalist, she's asking him this hard question. He never expected her to ask that question. And not only that, to come back with a follow-up.
Yeah. Nicole, why now though? We know the books are coming out. So Jake Tapper has a book coming out. I think 3 other books are now all of a sudden coming out because of Biden's talking about how Biden's cognitive decline was covered up. They're not actually mentioning that they were part of the cover up.
That
but
part.
Why are they coming out now talking about it?
Well, because
what benefit do they have? Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to be responsible for the loss. It can't be Kamala because they're going to need her to run again. The field for them is so thin and so lackluster. She's the front runner. She got mollywopped last November, but she's the front runner, right? What's interesting, though, is, Chuck's been around a while. He's been a politician for a very long time. And I am absolutely surprised that he did not spin that back on her and go, well, where were you, Miss Ma'am, when you sat on international TV, and said that he was running circles around people and repeating everything you heard and dismissing anyone who brought up anything about him. When he tripped up the steps, not down, up the steps, they were like, oh, it could happen to anybody. I don't know. I've been walking up steps a good 30 years. Never had that happen to me. Never ever. Let alone twice in 1 week. It was evident he had a decline, and all of them are complicit. All of them took a part in it. But what's interesting is when you see the media trying to save itself because the ratings are abysmal, Trump is taking a bite out of their butt. Conservative media like this is taken to the forefront. You guys, we're competing with people who've come into this space with multi-million-dollar sets and cameras and lights and all of this money. And we're kicking their tails because of you guys. We're kicking their butts across the street because of you. They're doing this because they want you back. This is the reason why they're doing it. They want their audience back. And what I'm saying is come get them. If you want them, come get them. And you're going to have to do a lot better than being Captain Obvious. Everybody knew that Joe Biden had issues. Everybody.
Exactly. And so, but we still have yet to see many of the establishment mainstream Democrats affirm that this is yes, they still have not said, okay, we saw it and we wanted to just keep them in as long as we could. They were saying that it wasn't as bad as we were starting to see. Is what they still have not admitted it. It's almost like a boyfriend or a husband that got caught cheating and he still doesn't admit that he was cheating. He just continues to lie or continues to, it's annoying to me. It really is. And here is Chuck Todd in this next clip. Oh my gosh, Chuck Todd. I don't know who peed on his Wheaties, but he is through with the Democrat Party. He goes in on Chuck Schumer and his non-response. Take a look here. This is clip 2.
Here at the airport, I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, to let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Abrego Garcia.
He said he was not able to make that happen. Said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. Trump administration is lying about Abrego Garcia.
This is why independent media is so important. Thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we've turned them off, called them out for their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans like us. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down on our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars. Support Made in America. Back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. We found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I Want to Make the Switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change.
What's up, guys? This is Giovanni, co-founder of Metro Conservative Media. We are the definitive home for the urban conservative. You think you got what it takes? Go to metroconservativemedia.com and click Join the Movement now.
All right, Senator Chuck Schumer, I know you got to go. I appreciate your time today. We'll see you soon, I hope. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. And our panel joins us now. CNN political commentator Jonah Goldberg, the host of the Chuck Toddcast, Chuck Todd, Democratic strategist Paul Begala, Republican pollster Kristen Soltis Anderson, both CNN political commentators. Chuck Todd, go.
He is among the people that are responsible for this. The leaders of the Democratic Party, the staff of the White House. And I have to say, I find everybody now talking to these authors, get out of here. Go home. You're part of the problem. Now you tell us? So I find, the reason why the Democratic Party has less credibility today. Here's an unpopular president, and the Democratic Party has a worse rating than the Republican Party with this catastrophic governance that we've seen over the last 120 days. And yet, why is the Democratic Party in worse shape? Because of this distrust. Because of this, frankly, what the public feels as if the party leadership let them down and let this happen. He's as responsible as anybody else. He was a leader in the party. He could have said something sooner.
So are you.
I don't recall him saying anything. I don't recall him pointing it out.
No. If anything, he covered it up. He covered it up. I can't believe these people.
See, now he would say, I'm just saying what I suspect Chuck Todd would say, not so much that he covered it up, he just didn't mention it, right? Which I'm just saying that's probably what he would say, because I don't recall him ever talking about it at all. I'm saying he went on to say last week that the media, they were fearful of the Bidens thing. This is the whole purpose of a media. The media is supposed to be the one out there challenging the government, questioning them, for most of the people who can't have access to the top leaders in our country. They're now pointing fingers, going at each other. Chuck, what's his name? Schumer. I don't think he even thought that she would ask that question of him, because to the Democrats, the media is just an extension of the press for the Democratic Party. Chuck Todd is full of it.
He certainly is.
He's been full of it.
I want to acknowledge our super chatters before we move on, Nicole. We do have a super chatter here, folks. Thank you guys so much. We have Tijuana Border Jumper with a $5 super chat. Says, thank you, ladies. Always love the shows. Thank you, Tijuana Border Jumper.
Thank you.
Yes, Nicole. What are your thoughts on that exchange?
The funny thing about it is that everybody who was sitting there, probably with the exception of Pritzker, absolutely complicit in the cover-up. Absolutely. Chuck Todd's got a podcast. He's got a partridge in a pear tree, a microphone, a megaphone. He could have blown the whistle a long time ago. They were all seeking power. They wanted to retain the White House. And the truth be told, if Kamala Harris had been a white woman, they probably would have held an open primary and got a probably better than Kamala candidate to run against Trump. I think the outcome would have been the same, but because they gilded the lily, because they stacked the deck, they got what they got. And there's a whole part of the party that's now trying to self-correct, but the majority of the party is still buying into this narrative. So they're rethinking what happened with Joe Biden instead of doing what Chuck is saying, pushing forward. Now, that was the wrong time for him to say it. He should have answered the question or flipped the script on her and said, well, wait a minute, didn't you do this too? But the party does have to move forward. They have to find new leaders. They have to find new talking points. Joining arms and singing old Negro spirituals just don't get it no more. It just does not. So he's right. They do have to push forward. Chuck Todd, however, makes his money on being the guy who says, oh, it wasn't me. It was everybody else, but it wasn't me. Let's see how that works, since he's gone from having his own show to being a mere panelist on somebody else's show. Let's see if that works for him, if he gets a seat back for him.
Yeah. A lot of people who know me, they say that when someone does me wrong, or if I find out someone has lied about something, it is very hard for me to get over it. And I need to hear that person say they admit it. I need to hear you admit it. I can't move on. I cannot move on until we acknowledge what we did and then talk about how we're going to move forward. How can they move forward? The Democrat Party, the media, how can any of us move forward? Even the voters, the Democrat voters. I don't understand how Democrat voters are moving forward with these people. When you find out that they not only they lied, they covered up, and they failed to investigate. They failed to ask questions. And when we conservatives asked questions about this, when they censored us, they told us we were lying. They said that we were propagandizing and so on and so forth. How can anyone trust these people on anything? And when you couple what they did with Biden with the they pushed Kamala Harris forward without, having a primary, pretty much not letting voters decide. When you couple this with the lies of the scam-demic, I think this is probably one of the biggest, I don't know what you would call it, historical cover-ups of a generation. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And I don't see how anyone can vote for this party going forward. I really don't.
Well, I can tell you how they can. Number one, when Kamala Harris was basically put in the position to run, most of the party didn't say a word. They didn't. They didn't push back. They let it go on. They wanted to live in this veiled existence. That's how they can keep doing it. Not only that, now that the media, they're saying, no, hands off. It wasn't us. It was the party. So now, many of the people in the party are like, okay, where do we go? Who do we look to? Who do we blame? But they can't blame the Democratic Party because they went along with it as well. This is why they will continue to do so unless people come out. They start at least putting on their thinking caps, as they used to say, and looking for other resources, other sources, and get out of their own cognitive dissonance. Just get through it and get over it and start looking at other sources to challenge whatever they already believe. This is how the media, by and large, particularly the mainstream media, are still in the pockets of the Democratic Party. They are just trying to say, oh no, it's not us. It wasn't us, people. It wasn't us. Like Nicole said, they want their audience back. That's all this is.
Yeah, it's terrible. And in a way, it also, well, before we go on, let me acknowledge our super chatters. Folks, thank you guys so much. We certainly appreciate you. All right, let's see who we have here. Robin with the $10 super chat says, Dems knew what Biden's condition was, and let's not let them fool us. For the love of God, it took Looney Clooney to complain to his party for them to finally act. That's Robin with the $10 super chat. Yeah, thank you. Jasper Vetti with the $10 super chat. We certainly appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, and again, what else have they lied about, and what else are they lying about? This is what I'm talking about. Another thing, it's just like when I catch you in a lie and we have not reconciled it, there's been no admission, you just want to move on, then how can I ever trust you again? This is what I'm talking about when the media, the Democrat Party, at least with Trump, and this is what I'm talking, they all call him liar and all this type of stuff. Trump is what he is. I mean, he may, as most politicians do, embellish on some things here and there, but for the most part, he means what he says and says what he means. But this party and the media have coordinated, it feels like, on an epic lie. And so another part of me is thinking, is this the Marxist way? Is this the idea that the Marxists want us to distrust our institutions going forward? So then we all devolve into chaos. What do you think about that, Shelley?
I think that is part of the Marxist plan. However, I believe that It's a part of human nature. I mean, institutions are run and built by people, okay? So, I mean, the Marxist agenda, maybe, yes, is to keep stirring it up, to get us to distrust. But even if it was not a Marxist agenda, our institutions have earned the ire of many of Americans in their own right, okay? So you don't necessarily need an agenda, a Marxist agenda, although I do think that's in play. I'm not discounting that. So I can't even say you can blame everything on Marxism. I can't even do that. As horrible as Marxism and communism are, I can't say you're going to blame everything on them. As human beings, we always look, we always want to look for something or someone to blame. That's just human nature. We do, because sometimes things just don't make sense, or, and it seemingly happen out of nowhere, or whatever the case may be. But we need to have a bad guy. That's just a human nature. We have to have a bad guy. However, I can't blame Marxism and communism on everything. I don't even think God does. Okay. But rightfully so, we should have a healthy skepticism of any institution, period.
Especially at this point. I mean, at this point, they've shown us who they are, and we should believe them. I think, KJ, when you're talking about how do Democrat voters trust their party, they don't. Their numbers are in the tank. But the interesting thing is they're not really, buying the Kool-Aid we're selling either. Both parties have their own foolishness going on. Let's call it what it is, because that's what we do here on Pop and Politics. Nobody's perfect. However, at this point in time, we're much better than they are. At least at this point in time, much better than they are.
Exactly.
Gen Xer Jerry made a really good comment in the chat. Says, now can we question all of those blanket pardons? Biden had no idea about them. Can we go back? What does that look like? Are we going to go back and look at the auto pen situation? Was he even in the room? I mean, what is going on here? And I don't think we'll find out anytime soon. I think what's going to happen is, I think Trey said it, in 50 to 100 years, it'll be an expose and it finally comes out, or they'll release some documents and it'll be too late to do anything about it. Just so very grateful that the nation has pushed forward with the Trump administration, and we're regaining the ground so very quickly. We have to keep our foot on the gas with this. We really do.
Yeah, I do have to push back on that Marxism thing, though. Whether it's Marxism or whether it's a global reset, which I think is tied into Marxism, that is definitely behind all of this. I mean, what we saw happen with this COVID-19 pandemic, or scamdemic, as we've said on here, the way that they changed the entire landscape of how we view our everyday lives. Again, ushering in the idea of cashless systems, which is a global agenda, which is behind pushing globalism, so we can move to a digital world. Behind the voting, we would have never had this month-long voting, the mail-in voting now that we have, if it had not been for the scamdemic. And then they were able to continue all of this through the indoctrination of education, because they had captive audiences, because people were just more so on their computers and not in person. So, and you had a president in office who was just a puppet. He didn't know whether he was coming or going. So they had to keep him in office in order to push forward the agenda that they did. I definitely think this is all part of Marxism.
I think it's don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting Marxism at all. I'm just saying that I'm not even going to blame anything and everything on Marxism.
Right.
But to your point, Nicole, I thought when you were saying when you were just talking, something came to my mind. And in as much as we all love America, we want it to succeed, and we know that every administration is basically this push-pull, right? One administration will institute whatever, the other one will come and overturn it, whatever the case may be, right? So I was thinking, at what point do we keep, like you saying, these things are going to come out, a lot of stuff is going to come out 50, 60, 70 years from now. How much do we give energy to it, at least right now? Let's say the Trump administration. Should we give energy to trying to uncover everything? Because we only have so much energy to go around in one day. or one administration. And I'm not saying we should or shouldn't. It just gets me to thinking, like, we want, quote unquote, we want to get justice for everything. We want to make it right. Or let's uncover this. Let's prosecute this person. And I'm not saying we should or shouldn't. I'm saying if we were to do that, then we wouldn't be spending time on winning the things that we're dealing with. That's all I'm saying. I don't have an answer one way or the other. This is just how I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think it just depends on your priorities. I've said this on the show before. I want to see Fauci in jail.
Oh, I would love to see that.
I do not believe they should give up on that. Also, I want to get the Epstein files. I know that's something that a lot of people are asking for, and a lot of people have been let down by it. Now, I don't think it consumes me. You shouldn't let anything consume you. But I think there should be a lot of pushback and a lot of we should be asking for it. I really do believe that those things, because it was a terrible stain. It was in these things like Dr. Fauci and the scamdemic and these Epstein files. These aren't small victims or small issues. These are massive issues for America. And so I think it is important that we get to the bottom of some of this stuff. I think we should continue to lobby them to pull out the truth. And
I don't know why they haven't, but
you know why?
Power and money.
First of all, they barely work. Let's just put that in there. Did you see all the videos of them sleeping? The congressman, what's it, Debbie Dingell? I think Matt Foldy broke that story. Debbie Dingell was sleeping so hard, somebody should have got that girl a pillow. She was gone at that hearing. This is what we expect from people who do not work full-time but collect a tremendous salary as representatives of this nation. We want to see investigations. That's a part of their job. This oversight, that's a part of their job. I think it was Guy in the comments who said we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Sometimes everybody's too busy running and trying to raise money to keep their seats to really worry about the way that the nation is moving. We have got to energize our Congress. We have got to get them back working. We have got to get their eyes back on the prize. Passing the big, beautiful bill, yes, agenda number 1, but we can have a 2, 3, 4, and 5 if they show up to work and put their backs into it. If Speaker Johnson picks up that damn gavel and do what it's supposed to do, you guys know I've been trying to warm up to this man. KJ, don't give me the look. I've been trying to warm up, but most recent events could have been straightened out with him snatching committee assignments and holding people in a vote on censure. When you put your hands on law enforcement officers, you should be held accountable. You should be held accountable. And if he won't do it, I'm going to hold him accountable. Mr. Speaker, do your job. Do your job.
Yeah. But you know what, though? I'm not even counting on Congress for this stuff. It's particularly the cover-ups. If we look back in history, many of these cover-ups, they weren't uncovered by people in public office. There were insiders. There were reporters. This is why our reporting, our mainstream media and reporting and journalists, that whole institution used to be so important because they were the ones to uncover this type of stuff. But now, again, goes back to the communist Marxist agenda to infiltrate the media, turn it into propaganda tools of the government. This is what we're seeing happening. And this is why it's so dangerous, because they were the ones that were supposed to keep these people honest. And so that brings me back to us. It takes citizen journalists like us, like, other YouTubers and independent podcasters to continue to lobby these organizations and somehow uncover these things, because the media that was supposed to do it has not been doing it.
And when they do, they're not reporting it. They're not blasting it out all over the place. The only reason why they're talking about this Joe Biden thing is because of the book and the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They are fake as a $2 bill, and everybody should know it. Just
absolutely. Well, folks, this is why it's so important to have an informed voters. Informed voters. This is why it's so important to have, and this is something that we strongly believe in here at Pop and Politics. And so what we are doing, we have partnered with Blexit and Blexit powered by TPUSA, and we are putting on the Informed Voter Power Series. So you guys see it there, and it is targeting our youth. So this is an event being held here in Maryland on Saturday, May 31st. From 2 to 5 p.m. It is the Informed Voter Power Series right here in Maryland. This is it's the second annual Informed Voter Power Series that we put on. We put on one last year. However, this year it's targeting our youth. So please, we will post this on our YouTube channel for you guys to come on out, bring your high school aged or college age attendees, come on out and spend the day with us as we talk about culture, economics, politics, how this matters, conservative solutions in these issues, and why it matters how you vote. And so we are targeting the youth for this. This is why your super chats help us put together events like this. Shelly, are you excited for this? I know I am.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the young people there, their energy. I want to hear, from them, at least have the opportunity to hear how they're thinking, right? To help them, shape whatever they're thinking, to come out with solutions. Maybe it's some things that we haven't thought of. I'm open to that. I'm looking forward to that. And just to have a good day, the energy, the fun. Again, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And Nicole, I mean, I know we've been planning this for a while here. What are your thoughts on this? What are you looking most forward to?
I'm very excited just to see the youth. Studies have shown when children spend time doing conservative things, kind of like 4th of July, waving flags, firecrackers, that type of thing, that they tend to lean more conservative when they become adults. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with these children so that they can actually see what conservatives really look like. We're not the monsters that you hear about in school. So it should be a bunch of fun. We should have a great time. And there's probably dollars to donuts that Shelly's going to break out dancing. It's a 50-50 shot I might dance with her if I'm out of the boot by then, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes, we are going to have food. We're going to have giveaways and speakers. So this event will bring thought leaders together to share their perspectives on conservative solutions to empower informed voters in urban communities and beyond. Again, our target audience is the younger generation. So high school students, college students, and young adults. Our goal is to create young ambassadors for the conservative movement who are like us, smart, edgy, and conservative. So this will be a launch pad for an ambassador program to come in the future. So again, we're going to have speakers, young speakers, youth speakers, and they're going to talk about entrepreneurship, economic development, education, relationships, how to, deal with someone with a goal of marriage, things like that, valuable insights on timely topics that directly impact our community. Yeah. All right. So we are so excited.
I want to say this. So I always say I love teenagers, young people. One of the things that I'm excited about is because I remember, there's this saying, I think I'm going to say in the Black community, certainly, but probably all parents have said it, stay in a child's place. I never knew what that meant. Right. When I was growing up, I never knew what that meant because I just had the thought, if I had a thought or I was thinking something, I wanted to ask something, I would just ask, right? And I mean, I've had my older family members stay in a child's place. You're not supposed to think that. Well, how are you not supposed to think something when you think it? I mean, that doesn't even make sense, right? So I'm open to this. I'm excited, just to hear from these young people. Again, their energy there, and I'm looking for maybe something that we haven't even thought of that they may be thinking, and it just because it's different doesn't necessarily mean that they should wrong. Keep it, right? Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm open.
Absolutely. So if you guys are in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area, Pennsylvania, all these places are within, between 30 minutes to an hour away. Come on out and support. All right.
We feed you too.
Say again.
We feed you too.
Yes. Yep. We are. Yes. It's going to be great food. We always feed you. We always do that.
Oh, there's gonna be probably a good chance that the guys from Just the Guys might be there too. So if you're a crossover fan and on Saturdays at 6:30 you're watching Just the Guys, you might catch them at this event. You might be able to catch them and ask them some real tough questions, which would be funny because I'll have my cell phone at the ready to make videos.
Yes, indeed.
Relentlessly. No, we love Just the Guys. It's an incredible pod. If you guys aren't watching that Saturday at 6:30, you need to make time to watch. Some of the topics that they bring up and the way that they see the world is so very different. Although very conservative, it is incredibly interesting. You should definitely be watching that show.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, we are moving right along. And we do have some super chats here. Let me see here. All right. So I have here, Ian says, continue to expose them, ladies, media and all. Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Ian. Tijuana Border Jumper says, Nicole, you're the best. I almost choked when you mentioned the Dems singing old Negro spirituals. Thanks for making me laugh. Tijuana Border Jumper with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Yes.
Oh, yay.
All right. And all right, let me see here. And he is a member now of our Freedom Seekers Club. So guys, you can join our Freedom Seekers Club right here. It's a great way to support the channel. And then you also can get perks and things as a member of the Freedom Seekers Club. So definitely join that. All right. And again, there's our merch there. So you can go to www.popandpoliticslive.com/shop. Get your merch, get your t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, and cups and mugs right there. Great material there for you. All right. So moving right along, we are actually want to talk about something going on here in Maryland. So Maryland's long coveted bond rating, at the highest bond rating for decades, not anymore. One of three credit rating agencies, Moody's Ratings, on Wednesday, today, downgraded the state's bond rating from AAA to A1. So that means when the state goes to sell its bonds to fund essential services and infrastructure, including new schools, roads, bridges, ambulances, and public safety equipment, Maryland could end up paying more in interest on the borrowed money. Regionally, Washington, D.C. received the same fate from the credit rating agency. But Maryland has received a AAA rating since 1973, according to Moody's. So this is a pretty big deal. Who do they blame here in Maryland? Wes Moore. Wes Moore, our governor, blames Trump. So we want to get into this. Shelley, what did you think about that? Did you see what he posted to Twitter blaming President Trump for this rating?
Yeah. Wes Moore is, to put it lightly, he's lying. Okay. He's still covering up his own mismanagement of Maryland's $6 billion surplus in 2 years or less that he has gone through. Not only has he gone through it, he has overspent it. So we are underwater, if you will. That's number one. Number two, this should not have been a surprise because it was about a year ago, around the same time, that Maryland was warned that it was on path to receive a lower bond rating. So this was 2024. President Trump was not installed until January 2025. So the math ain't mathing. Maybe it's that common crap that they're teaching in Maryland and elsewhere that Wes Moore just can't get. So Wes Moore is lying. What he's trying to do, again, they're trying to make Trump the boogeyman. Maryland has been heavily reliant on federal workers working for, in the federal agencies in the district, if you will. And now that many of them are not working there anymore, or the federal government has been downsizing thanks to the Trump administration, now he's trying to find something or someone to blame. Except looking in the mirror. Maryland has been a heavily Democratic state, the Democratic majority in Annapolis. And what did they vote on almost every damn year? More taxes and more taxes. And KJ, you said we could get higher interest rates. Oh no, we will get higher interest rates. And guess who's going to wind up paying those rates? The Maryland taxpayer.
Yeah, I mean, Nicole, he went in on President Trump on his Twitter. He says thousands of federal workers are losing their jobs, and actual and proposed cuts to everything from healthcare to education will continue to exact a toll. He's saying together we turned a deficit into a surplus, gave the middle class tax relief while still raising critical revenue through strategic tax reforms and reduced spending over $2 billion. So again, he's blaming, I guess, President Trump's layoffs.
Well, here's what's interesting about that. Those federal layoffs hit some of our big five counties. We call them big five here in Maryland. These are the counties that generate most of the state's revenue. Here's a really ironic fact that most of those counties have a AAA bond rating. So how is it that the counties most affected by the federal layoffs are doing just fine, sir, but you can't seem to keep it together after 50 years of AAA? Here comes Barack Obama 2.0 with his smile and his, little get up in his walk, and he didn't messed up our credit already. I feel like he's a bad boyfriend. He didn't came into our lives, charmed us all, and stole $100 out of our pocketbook, and then jacked up our credit. Because Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, Calvert County, Carroll County, Charles County, Montgomery County, Prince George's, and St. Mary's all have AAA bond ratings.
Well, I mean, these people, just within the last several years, Wes Moore and the Democrat legislature have just been destroying this state. I mean, total gutting of it. From we know now that it came out that there were terrible issues with the bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge. They were not checking that bridge correctly in order to prevent a collapse such as it happened. Then on top of that, we have the largest tax hike in Maryland history, $1.6 billion. We've got 338 new increased taxes and fees. So it's no wonder we lost the AAA bond rating. And then from all of that, I don't understand how he can kind of turn this on President Trump. It's ridiculous.
That's what they do. That's what they do. Number one, in Maryland, they don't have to answer. They don't have to worry about being whatever you call it, primary or whatever. Accountable. Yeah. Yes, because we have a 2-to-1 Democrat to Republican or independent voter block. So they don't have to worry. They don't have to answer. Wes Moore, all he needs to do is go on The View, go on The Breakfast Club, look good with that damn clown ass smile. Reminds me of the Joker. It really drives me crazy the way he does that smile, and he will say absolutely nothing and just sound good, looking good, saying absolutely nothing. So this is what he has to do. And then while he's out traversing and traipsing all across the country, he's going to pretend that he's not running for president. Okay. No. So that when he does run, of course, Trump is going to be the boogeyman. Well, Trump will be out of office or, going out of office. And then hopefully J.D. Vance will be taking over. This is what they do. He's lying. He has spent through $6+ billion and put us in debt. I mean, that's what Moody's does. Moody's based on, the ratio of the state budget to your debt. Simple as that. He did it in 2 years. He ran through and went over under the ratings, whatever. We're in the red.
Well, not only that, I mean, we're in the red because, he spent like a drunken sailor. Make no mistake. He's buying friends all over the state. That's, something that he did with the legislature's consent. However, we still don't have a way to fund our Kerwin. For the blueprint, we don't have a way to pay for it. So this is an albatross around our neck financially. It's like living in a 2-bedroom apartment with your spouse and you go out and buy an Escalade. You can't afford it. It's just a matter of time before it's repoed. This is what's going on here. This man has no sense of looking beyond 1, 2, 3 years down the road. And it's coming home to roost now. We're 2 years in. 2 years in, $6 billion spent. Credit rating in the toilet, so to speak, compared to what it was for the last 50 years. And his response isn't, listen, it's a tough time. I'm going to fix it. Believe in me. This is a Band-Aid moment. None of that. What he does, it's not me. Look over here at this other guy. Look over here at this other guy. We keep telling you guys about Wes Moore for a reason, not because Marylanders, have any chance of, recalling him or doing any of that. But we want you to know, as they're continuing to groom him, what you get when you vote for him. You're not going to get
absolutely,
the charming, smiling guy. He has no idea. You hear me? He has ruined this state so quickly.
Yes.
And so abundantly. There is not one aspect of life in Maryland that hasn't changed dramatically since he's been sworn. Not one.
Yeah.
Crime is out of control. These kids are running amok. It is just ridiculous. And people are leaving this state in droves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it is Virginia's doing much better. A neighboring state. So, and this is what I don't understand. So President Trump comes into office just over 100 days, and he has been able to get our border under control. I mean, massively, 94% border crossings are down. He's been able to get the prices of inflation has come down. We just saw that this week. He fixed the tariffs. Now China's tariffs are far less than what they were under Biden, and they're paying more to us. Inflation is down, eggs, gas is down, and he gets horrible press. They go after him in the press for this. But you have the direct opposite with Wes Moore, where he is doubled taxes and tripled taxes and fees here on Marylanders. Everything, the bridge collapse, everything is bad in Maryland. And he goes and nobody pushes him on this stuff. Nobody questions him on this. He can go on national media and they, coo and awe and laugh and everything after everything he does. But this is what they do. And this is why Democrats the voters at least continue to get what they get, which is heartache and pain, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Because they're not pushed back against. They're not questioned.
And to your point about Virginia still has its AAA bond rating. And you know why? One of the main reasons is that I think it was at the end of 2024, their fiscal year, they ended with a surplus in their budget. Yeah. They had a surplus. They didn't go out spending, every dime, everything that wasn't nailed down, making all these extravagant programs that are not funded. They didn't overly tax, if you will, their constituents. So no, Virginia had a surplus. And if I'm not mistaken, so did Delaware. Pennsylvania, yeah. I don't know that exactly, but these are the states that surround us and that are doing relatively well, particularly Virginia, because they have probably a good number, if not it's the same, maybe slightly more federal workers than Maryland does.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but they're not taxing and feeing and regulating business like Maryland does. Exactly. I believe Lego just invested like $400 million, I believe, in Virginia. I think it was like some warehouse to open up there in Virginia. So while they're getting new warehouses and new businesses coming there, we're getting them leaving. And they're leaving because of the high fees, taxes, and regulations here in Maryland.
And it's too expensive to have your workforce live here. Right. I mean, when the average cost of a home and you're thinking $500,000 and you're a worker, you're thinking, man, everybody in this house has got to work. My kids got to work. Everybody has to work to make it work. And you could live in Virginia for half that amount.
Absolutely. They've cultivated an environment that welcomes free market capitalism and less regulation. So their economy is going to soar. But folks, we're telling you this because Wes Moore is coming. He is coming for you. Okay. Let us tell you now. He is coming. He is here in Maryland right now. And he's saying I'm not running, as he said on The View, I'm not gonna say like a nut. He said on there, he's coming. And so we're warning you now because he's got this Obama-esque look and feel and sound, and he will fool you, but don't be fooled. We're telling you now, you cannot say we did not warn you. You heard it first here on Pop and Politics. Okay. Right. and not just Poppin' Politics, on many of our shows. So you guys know we have, we're all on a sister platform here, Metro Conservative Media. We have multiple shows. So last night, the All American Talk Show played. So they're on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. at All American Talk. And then, of course, we are here on Wednesdays. And then we have Christian Conservative. That's my show at KJ Christian Conservative on Thursdays. So you can catch me tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Giving you a biblical perspective. And we're going to go all through the Diddy case, folks. You do not want to miss tomorrow night on Christian Conservative. We're going to get into it. And we're not only talking about the case, but the demonic spiritual warfare that is going on with this case. So that's tomorrow on Christian Conservative at KJ Christian Conservative. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we have Just the Guys on Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. It's at Just the Guys Podcast. Gives you that male perspective. All right. So you can catch us all here on their respective YouTube channels. All right. So getting back to this stuff, we want to talk about juvenile crime. So before we do that, we do have a super chatter here. Yoni, thank you so much, Yoni. With a $10 super chat, says, hi all, I'm a bit of a laggard and can't figure out how to join Freedom Seekers Club. Can y'all walk me through? Yes, indeed. So you would just go onto the YouTube page for our channel, Pop in Politics, and you should see a button there for join or membership. And that's where you would join to become a freedom seeker. So you can't do it from an iPhone. So you may have to do it from your computer or your desktop. Or if you have a tablet, that may work. It won't work from an iPhone. Only web and Android. That's what production is saying.
That's the problem.
You can't do that, really.
Yep. So, that's what's going on. And speaking of production, we have such a stellar production team here. Thank you guys so much. Working behind the scenes, keeping our chat going, keeping our clips and videos coming up. So thank you guys so much. And I gotta shout out our moderators. You guys are awesome. Keeping the chat talking. You guys are pushing everybody for the likes. Keeping everybody, the conversation going on in the chat, the S files. You rock tonight.
Coaster. Yes. Thank you all.
Yeah. Yep. Coaster.
Big is doing great. Impy's doing great.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
As per usual.
Yes, indeed. Yep. You all are great. Thank you so much. All right, so we got to keep this party going. And next, we're talking about juvenile crime. So, as I mentioned, this is out of control here in Maryland, and particularly Baltimore. Take a look here. This is clip 3.
After the dramatic video of a deadly crash in Howard County, Governor Wes Moore says he mourns the loss of life. Via a spokesperson, his office calls this an example of isolated incidents that provide a somber reminder to work together to bring juvenile crime down. But there are several examples of juveniles getting involved in crime. Going back to January, a 15-year-old was charged with murder after a McDonald's security guard was shot and killed. A string of robberies and break-ins caught on camera in February, sparking renewed calls for action by the victim.
I mean, they got to be held accountable.
In March, video showing a 12-year-old boy beaten in Essex by a group of kids. And a teen was gunned down outside Lansdowne High School. April brought warmer weather and another round of frustration from Baltimoreans over juvenile crime. Later that month, a group of teens assaulted a 7-Eleven staff member. But it's not just residents sounding off.
They are not scared of anything.
Baltimore Police Commissioner Richard Worley issuing a statement after 16 juveniles were arrested over a late April weekend, calling it frustrating, writing, "Our officers are working every day, but real, lasting change requires all of us. We need accountability." But the examples don't stop there. May bringing a new round of brazen juvenile crime, a group of teens claiming to be stolen car suspects taunting on social media.
That's what it seems to be to them, again.
Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates says in 2022, his office had about 300 juvenile cases.
Last year, if I'm not mistaken, we had over 1,000 juvenile cases we prosecuted. So we've seen the numbers rise little by little.
But the Department of Juvenile Services continues to say juvenile crime is declining. According to data obtained by Fox 45 News, there have been 3,938 juveniles charged with the crime through DJS as of May 5th of this year, including 571 crimes of violence, 461 felonies, 2,500 misdemeanors. But DJS says 1,714 of those 3,900 juveniles were resolved at intake.
Wow.
What does that even mean? Resolved at intake.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it means.
Something's going on. And before I get you in here, Shelley, do we believe the numbers here? Now, we talked about this on here before, not just in Baltimore, Maryland, but nationally. We've seen so-called crime numbers go down, as they're saying. Is that really the case? Because it surely doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
No.
So, okay, it's specifically in Baltimore, homicides have gone down. Juvenile crime is out the roof. Homicides.
Well, they're saying it's gone down as well.
Overall, because if you add all the crime overall, it'll go down. But homicides, juvenile crime as its own category, is, if they saying that, that's a lie. That's number one. Number two, Vincent Schiraldi, he is the secretary of the Department of Juvenile Services, and he is literally up. I shouldn't say literally, but he is up Moore's ass, or the other way around. Okay, you remember that scene in the movie Hancock when Will Smith put that guy's head up another person's ass? Just have that in your mind when you think of Moore and Schiraldi. That's what it reminds me of, right? The juvenile crime here. No, these not the real numbers, KJ. She only talked about since January. Go back a year. Juveniles every day are in the news. They are causing crime. I don't even believe that felony number or the crimes of violence. What's the difference? Crimes of violence versus the felony. When they get to intake, Nicole, to your question, what they do is they send them out a revolving door. Resolved at intake means that the intake people said, okay, they brought him in by the police. They did a exchange, a chain of custody, if you will, and then they slapped ankle monitors on them. That's a resolution for intake. That's all it takes. It does not mean, well, they're supposed to have a court date. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And it also means that some guardian, in most cases, are supposed to collect them at the juvenile headquarters. This is all a part. This is bureaucracy. This is paperwork, making it look good, like they're doing something. And again, this is Schiraldi and Moore up each other's asses. And neither one of them are going to do anything, particularly Moore, because he's Schiraldi's boss. He is not going to touch this. He's not going to touch this because he wants to keep it as quiet as kept, because he is trying to run for office.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm afraid of. They're trying to keep this as quiet, as hush hush as possible. The Democrats in this state, and particularly Wes Moore, because he is running for national office eventually. And they're fudging the numbers somehow. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this juvenile crime?
Of course they're fudging the numbers. The numbers are designed to be fudged. Okay, let's do that. So you can take out one segment of a crime statistic to make it go up or down, or do whatever you need to do. But people who live in these communities or travel through these communities, or even just get the news. Like, I don't live in Baltimore, but I saw that video of that 85-year-old woman being accosted. This is somebody's great grandmother. Are you serious? You know, and the way that they brag about committing these crimes makes it seem like there is no repercussions for it. And I shouldn't say makes it seem like, because there isn't. There aren't any repercussions for it. There are no repercussions for the so-called youth or child. There are no repercussions for the family. There are not even any repercussions for the community outside of people being scared to doggone death, right? Mm-hmm. Where's the line? What is going to have to happen before we get really serious about getting these kids together? Because every single day they get older. Every single day we get older. We're going to have to live in these states with these little monsters who are going to grow up to be big monsters. And then what? And then what? Especially here in Maryland, you can't even keep your gun and your ammunition in the same location. You're going to have to say, wait a minute, let me go get my gun. Hold on, let me get my ammunition so I can fight back.
I got a slight correction to that, Nicole, but that's another discussion.
It makes me crazy. We just had a case here in Charles County where a little boy took his uncle's gun to school. The uncle didn't even know he had the gun. The uncle from Florida had his loaded gun in his glove box. He was taking his nephew to school. His nephew breaks into his glove box, takes the gun out, puts it in his book bag while the uncle was out paying for the gas to get back and forth to school. 5 days later, the little boy pulls said gun out of his book bag, allegedly drops the gun fires in the classroom. Everybody's mad at the uncle who lives in Florida. The uncle who lives in Florida.
Yeah.
Filed charges against the uncle.
There are no
nothing for the child, nothing for this child's parents. This child walked around for 5 days with the loaded handgun in his book bag. He's 9. You don't look in your 9-year-old book bag? You don't? So we have a really serious problem with parents turning a blind eye, and it couldn't be my child syndrome, right? You have to take accountability for your children. There has to be something that we all can do to bring this whole thing to bear, because what's going to happen is people are going to stop visiting Baltimore, and there go your tourist dollars. What are you going to do?
Well, you know what the left does. They blame everybody else. And so then they puts the blame on the gun makers or on Trump, for goodness sake, anyone they can find except for what the real blame is, self-accountability. Okay. Right. And so what they do is they start pushing on more laws, more regulation on law-abiding citizens. And folks, we're bringing this to you because this is not just in Baltimore City. They are trying to push this nationally, this kind of stuff nationally, if they get into office. Now, our governor here, Wes Moore, who, as we mentioned, is has national. He has a national goal of becoming president. He's commented on this. He actually made a comment on the death of 69-year-old Bonnie Fuller Griffith. She died from her injuries following a multi-car crash in Howard County. I think they mentioned it in the video. Right. And it appears it was due to a stolen vehicle by stolen by juveniles. Right. And so he says, and I quote, he mourns the loss of Griffith's life, according to a spokesperson. When asked if he would replace DJS Secretary Schiraldi, a spokesperson for Governor Moore did not directly answer the question. He says, though juvenile crime numbers continue to drop, these isolated incidents offer somber reminders that we must continue to work. You know how they say, do the work, in partnership with the General Assembly, states attorneys, local leaders, and advocates to promote accountability for criminal acts and take swift action to keep our communities safe. So in other words, do nothing.
And bullshit. Right. And Nicole, to your point, they don't have any consequences because for at least the last 2 sessions, maybe 3 in Maryland, the legislatures in Annapolis, they continue to reduce or restrict the charges that a juvenile can have imposed on him or her for the crimes they commit. This is why this intake process is a bullshit process. The police take them there, and literally we have cases here in Maryland almost every day. Literally in 48 hours, these same juveniles are back committing whatever crimes and causing whatever havoc. And Schiraldi, again, he is Wes Moore's, I don't know, right ass man. I don't know. That's what you want to call it. But that's what he is. And he is not going to fire him. I don't know if Schiraldi has anything on him or vice versa, but they are putting it on each other. And it must be damn good because Wes Moore is not getting rid of him.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, that's a good point about this Department of Juvenile Services. So what they have in place is this consent decree. And the consent decree states that they can place juveniles in a sidestep program that is powered by MONSE. And for you guys who don't know, that's the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement in Baltimore City. So when they arrest a juvenile, they send him to a diversion program, sidestep, and it's not technically counted as an official arrest on the books. So it's very dishonest. What they're doing, again, they're fudging the numbers. This is a way to go around the numbers. So we have a spike in juvenile crime, but they're not counting it because they're putting these people or these kids in the sidestep program.
That's what resolved at intake means.
About this with the public.
That's what resolved at intake means. These are some of the programs or tactics that Schiraldi had instituted. I think he came from New York. So that's what resolved at intake means. They assigned them to these programs, and they don't do anything but come out and cause more havoc and more crime and more death and destruction.
Well, we saw what happened in New York a couple days ago with the police officers standing in Times Square, just kind of keeping their eye on the crowd. And they got whirlwind by a bunch of minors, right? Pushing and shoving and grabbing and carrying on. We've got to do something. We have to do something. It cannot be shrug your shoulders and hopes it goes away. You can't put your head in the sand. It's not going to go away. They're just going to get bigger and stronger as we get older and weaker. So we have to come up with a resolution.
Yeah, well, we will continue to follow that story. It's terrible because you see some of these really nice neighborhoods are being overrun. We mentioned in the last program how these like massive crowds or mobs of juveniles are overtaking whole department stores, 7-Elevens. They're robbing and looting places here, nice areas, and the police are they can't do anything about it really. So they don't do much about it. It's becoming a real issue here.
Yeah. I repeat, five other famous or infamous words, thankfully, to our former mayor, Stephanie Rawlins Blake: give them space to destroy.
Wow. Yeah. We have some super chats here, folks. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate you. Kung Fu CJ says 189 illegals arrested today. This is what I voted for. Yeah, me too, Kung Fu CJ.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. When I read that, the first thing I heard is lock them up, lock them up. Lock them up, lock them up. And throw away the key. All right. So speaking of lockup, I'll tell you one person who's not locked up right now, Karmelo Anthony. So, folks, we are back on this viral story. This is the story of the stabbing in Texas at a track meet, a school track meet in Frisco, Texas, several weeks ago now, I believe, of a student who Karmelo Anthony, who stabbed Austin Metcalf, teen. And so now he is accused of fatally stabbing Frisco Memorial High School athlete Austin Metcalf to death, of course, during a track meet in early April. News broke recently he will be allowed to graduate and receive his high school diploma under a newly reached agreement. The Next Generation Action Network, that's remember the spokesperson that was representing him, under a newly reached agreement announced the agreement between Anthony's family and Frisco Independent School District in a news release yesterday. So according to NGAN, which is Next Generation Action Network, Anthony, a student at Frisco Centennial High School, will not be allowed to participate in senior graduation activities. However, the organization said his 3.7 GPA and completion of all graduation requirements mean he can graduate without attending the final month and a half of the academic year. So they are quoted to say, "We are proud to share that Karmelo Anthony will graduate and receive his high school diploma, and that his academic achievements will not be disrupted." This has caused quite a bit of outrage among in that community. So it looks like Megan Metcalf, that is the deceased mother, had been writing to the school board ever since April. She has here, "My name is Megan Metcalf. My son Austin Metcalf was tragically taken away from me on April 2nd from another Frisco student. I have been informed the civil rights team that this person has behind him are reaching out to you requesting he be able to graduate. I do not know much about your stance on protests, etc., but I would urge you to make sure that you do not change your mind on this ruling, that the boy is expelled and it stays that way. My son Austin will never be able to graduate. This person will have the opportunity to get his GED at a later time because he is still living. I would strongly request that you do not allow them to sway your ruling and keep him from being able to graduate from Frisco ISD schools we hold so dear." But they went on and did it. So what are your thoughts on this, Nicole?
Blackmail, quite literally heavy on the black. This is what we talk about, black fatigue. This is the fatigue. This is the reason why black people should be getting free Advil from every CVS. We should just walk in and get a handful for free. This is ridiculous. You get to kill somebody and graduate, right? But there are kids who, let's say, don't return a book, break a laptop screen, and the school board is coming down on them like a ton of bricks. If you don't pay your $117 for that screen, you won't graduate. He killed another human being, admittedly. No one's accusing him of it. He said he did that. At some point, these school systems, you cannot be afraid of people picketing. You cannot be afraid of people protesting. They're going to protest you no matter what. You can give this, what's his name, the Action Network, GNs, or whatever the name of that group is, whatever the name of that group is, you can give them everything they want. The protesters are still going to come. You're still going to be a racist school system because that's the way they've spun this narrative. What about the decedent's family? What about this kid? And the mother's right. Her son is never going to graduate. His twin brother lost his twin. Where's your mercy for that? Where are you going to show this family any sort of grace? Because turn after turn, it seems like to me that you're kowtowing to anybody who's brave enough to come and yell at you. And that's disgusting.
Yeah, you brought up a good point, because generally they expel people and disallow them from graduating for lesser stuff.
Little tiny things, for
right.
sure.
Yeah,
don't return a book, you won't graduate. I mean, they're very serious about those kind of things. But it seems to me that, they're bowing to the pressure, and this is blackmail, straight up and down blackmail.
Shelley, what are your thoughts on this?
I actually don't think it matters one way or the other.
It sounds like it mattered to the mom.
Of course, I mean, of course it does. It's going to always matter, and I'm not lessening the death of Austin. What I mean, it doesn't matter is that okay? He has whatever the GPA is. He's already met the criteria. He's not going to walk across the stage. They can give him his diploma, whatever, in a back room, mail it to him or whatever. I mean, in that sense, I don't think it matters. I'm guessing from the mom's perspective, it's certainly emotional. It's heart-wrenching, but it's more symbolic that her son won't have his diploma and Karmelo Anthony will, who murdered her child. So in that sense, I don't think it matters whether he gets it or doesn't get it. That's my whole point. I really don't. Academically, I don't know. Is he expelled already, or he has not been expelled? I wasn't sure.
He was initially expelled. He was initially expelled from school.
And then they reversed it.
It sounds like they have, because if he was expelled, then he wouldn't be graduating. So now they've, I guess, removed the expulsion. They're still keeping him out of school, and he's still allowed to graduate. I don't understand how it doesn't. It matters.
I don't think it matters whether he gets a diploma.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? What do you mean?
It doesn't. I don't think it matters. It just doesn't matter because he's
doesn't
already.
Matter to who? Doesn't matter for what? That's what I'm confused on.
What difference does it make if he gets a diploma or not? If he's already met the criteria to get it, I'm just saying.
That's the thing. They're saying he has not met. I mean, you can't.
He has a 3.7. He has the 3.7 GPA. He's already completed all the requirements to graduate. The last month or whatever they said, the last month or so, he didn't even have to. He could have missed school and still.
No, he couldn't have. You cannot graduate expelled.
I didn't say expelled. I'm saying if he was not expelled, but apparently he's not expelled. That's what I'm saying. Apparently,
this is the whole point of it. This is the whole point of
expulsion.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, I think he should have been. I think he should be expelled. I think there's a place for that. I'm just talking about the graduation, whether he gets a diploma or not. I think it's a non-issue.
Then why push it? Then it is an issue for everyone involved.
It's an issue for his family because he's already met the criteria.
He hasn't met the criteria. If you're expelled,
met the criteria to
if you are expelled, you don't meet the criteria.
He's not expelled. Then
that's the issue. That's what the mom is saying.
Academic standing to graduate.
It's more, you need more than academic standing to graduate. For instance, when you are a senior, you need academic standing, and then you also may need some volunteer hours. I'm just using that as an example. So let me finish. No, he has not met the standard. Okay. This is the issue. The issue is he was expelled. He was expelled. And because of pushback from this National Action Network or whatever crap is, because they're in fear of this racist, as Nicole mentioned, this racist name calling or what picketing, protesting, whatever, they reversed the expulsion. And so that is why he's able to graduate. The mom was saying, please don't reverse this.
Oh, okay. So fine. So they did reverse it. Right. So they did reverse it.
Sounds like they did.
So all I'm saying, whether or not he gets a diploma, I'll say, okay, in my never to be humble opinion, it's irrelevant. It's a very, very minute matter, which whether he gets a diploma or not, really, because Austin is not coming back, unfortunately. Austin is not coming back. That family has to deal with this grief. His family has to deal with whatever legal woes and all this stuff. His advocates advocated for him to graduate and or have a reversal of the expulsion. Whatever. That's in a scale of things, at least to me, that's a minor thing. Even if he was expelled, Austin is still not coming back, unfortunately.
Well, wow. I just think having a diploma in prison is not really going to be helpful. However, I do understand where the mother is coming from. I mean, like, her grief is palpable, even in just the brief part of that letter that you read, KJ. And it is all of that aside, as a school system, because we're seeing this all over the nation, not just, murder and that kind of thing, but it seems like when someone starts to picket or stand up to a school system, they kind of blow the way that those people are going. It's kind of like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And we need our school systems to be better on that. You have policies and procedures. I'm going to need you to stand on it. That's the whole reason I have the policies and procedures, to make sure everybody's treated fairly. You hear the little kids all the time. Well, she wore something that was not approved and she got away with it. And I wore the same thing and I got it, in trouble. You have to have, especially for children, because they notice those kind of things. Rules are for everyone in school, and it should be followed. Shame on the school system for every single time somebody raises their voice to them, they're just cowering back. Stand on principle for once.
And you ask, I would say 8 out of 10 people, if it mattered, well, in any situation, whether their son or daughter got a GED or graduated with a diploma. Many people say it matters.
Oh, with a diploma, yes, PJ.
It is a standard thing. And so what this mother is saying, or what anyone is, it matters. It matters. They should have left him expelled. May I finish, please? May I finish? It matters. And what the mom is saying, and what many people across the country believe, they want their child to get a diploma rather than getting a GED. And so if he was expelled, the school should have kept him expelled. Not even about the fact that somebody died, but what he did, a fight at the track or whatever, is something that can be up for expulsion. So he should have stayed expelled. This is strictly political, and they're doing it because he's black. And
you're missing my point. I'm not denying or arguing all of those things. And you're right. If a GED versus a diploma, when you have living students, makes a difference. I'm saying in the whole scheme of things, whether he gets a diploma or not, it really doesn't matter. Austin is still dead. That's all I'm saying. I'm not comparing living to living.
Well, who are you to say that?
Say what?
When you put it in that context,
I'm saying as a mother, I'm saying as a person who graduated from school, who had
not his mother, not the deceased mother. It matters to her.
His mother.
That's all I'm saying.
Neither is one of us. But I can tell you for sure, as a mother, as a human being, we all have a heart and a sense of grief with this mom. I'm saying that getting the diploma is sort of a tangential issue compared to her son. Compared to her son being dead. Period.
Well, you can't say that because it's not your son who died.
Yes, I can. You just said most people would say the opposite. I don't care. You can't speak for most people.
I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I am not speaking. She said it matters. The mom says it matters. That's what I'm saying. And you are saying it. You're saying it shouldn't.
My opinion. I say
right.
And I don't think this is not the real issue. This is, if you want me to say it, maybe this way. This is symbolic. All I'm saying is that I commiserate, if you will, or not commiserate. What do you call it? I don't know. I sure enough empathize or sympathize with that mom losing her son. At the end of the day, getting a diploma or not is not the big issue. That's a very small issue of this heart-wrenching big issue of her son being dead in his grave. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, folks, that does it for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will keep you updated on this story. I'm sure more is to come. So we will certainly continue to follow this story. Final thoughts, lady. Before we go, we do have a super chatter here. Allie with the $20 super chat says, just wanted to say I love and appreciate you three ladies. Another great show of truth telling and calling out the leftist loonies. Absolutely, Allie. We appreciate you as part of our family here on Pop and Politics. We appreciate you for always being here in the chat. So thank you guys so much. All right. Final thoughts, ladies. I'll start with you, Nicole.
We have so much going on. So many events and things that are happening around the state and some things that are happening up and down the coast. But I just wanted people to remember that, although sometimes we talk about things that are hard and it kind of paints a darker picture of where we are as a nation, we are infinitely better than we were this time last year. We are moving in the right direction. You see people kind of throwing themselves up against the wall. The Democrats are crashing out and screaming, hollering, falling asleep during, Congress, during session. All of that is a small thing in the greater scheme that America is getting better every single day. And that's something that we can hang our hat on. These tough times, folks, 5 years from now, we won't remember them, but we will remember when our nation finally turned that corner to get ourselves back right again. So don't let the little bit of bad news ruin the overall good look.
All right. Absolutely. Shelly, what are your final thoughts for the audience tonight?
Oh, gosh. I'm just going to say we have to keep pushing, keep trucking. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say what I haven't said it in a while. I'm going to say stand up, show up, speak up, and strap up.
All right. Absolutely. I agree with all of you ladies. In a world that constantly tries to pull us off track morally, politically, and spiritually, remember the narrow path isn't always easy, but it's the one that leads to the truth. So we want to continue to stay the course, stay firm, and never be afraid to speak boldly for what is right. And as you guys can see, we are all passionate about this stuff on here. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. We will be back on Saturday this week. at 9 p.m. So you do not want to miss our episode this Saturday. We got some more super chats here. All right. Chadwick says, Shelly, I still love that necklace. All right. And Kung Fu CJ says, I love the diversity of thought. You ladies rock. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Yes, we are all on the right, but I love about this show as well is we can provide different perspectives on the right. We're not cookie cutter Republicans or conservatives or on the right. We do differ on certain situations. And so it is something, it just adds to the show, I think.
Yeah. I agree. But can I tell you guys, I don't mean to cut you off, KJ.
No.
I know you guys see me looking, but you can't tell there's my sliding glass doors there. It is raining. I'm about to go build me an ark. You hear me? It is my backyard. You can't even see grass. It is so much water. It is raining so hard. It's banging up against the glass. I'm like, we've got some flooding going on in parts of Maryland. I hope my part is not going to be the next part. Oh my goodness, it's raining so hard.
It's not raining at all here.
Man, did you see Allegheny and Garrett County? It was like roving rivers of this flood water all over the place. So
okay. Yeah, can you put that comment up from Trey's Chocolate City again? I think she said something about Saturday's show. Oh, she says, KJ, thanks for letting us know the next show is Saturday. I won't be looking for Talk with a Flashlight. Okay, yeah, we'll be on Saturday night this weekend. So yes, hit that notification bell. That will help you guys know when we go live as well. And you can check me out tomorrow. I will be on tomorrow on Christian Conservative at KJ Christian Conservative right there on the KJ Christian Conservative channel at 9 p.m. It is going to be a crazy show. We are going to get into a lot of stuff tomorrow night. And then we'll be on Saturday. Also, Just the Guys will be on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. So don't want to miss them at Just the Guys podcast, 6:30 p.m. All right, folks, until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good.